Hey, what's up, everybody? This is LB the Realist with Surrealistic Studios. Surreal News. Thank you for joining me today on another one with Real is Surreal. In chemo, you can hear his tongue flapping and slopping around in the background. So, Bernie Sanders had a town hall on CNN with Wolf Blitzer. I'm surprised. This was yesterday. I'm actually very surprised that they gave Bernie Sanders a town hall on a Monday evening. It was like 5:30. Crazy, right? So that's how popular Bernie Sanders is now. That's how much he's moved the party to the left. That's how much he's made an impact on the party. So much that he's going around, when people try to throw it in his face that he's not a Democrat, he's going around every single time they say that now. He's like, wait, hold on. Now, let me get something straight. I went around the country trying to get people to vote for that warmongering POS. No, I'm just playing. But no, he really did. He went around the country and he really did try to get people to support Hillary Clinton. He's been bending over backwards trying to get people into the Democratic Party, much to the dismay and the disdain of his supporters. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't want Bernie to do that, but he did it for the Democratic Party. So they gave him a town hall, and that's crazy. And overall, I think the town hall was great. Bernie stayed on the issues. He had to throw some Trump in there. He had to throw some Russia in there. I knew it, and I called it too. I was watching with my girlfriend, and as soon as they were starting to get ready to start the second half, I was like, they got to throw Russia in there. So I'm waiting on that. And as soon as I said it, boom, first question that pops up is somebody asking about goddamn Russia. But other than that, I appreciated Bernie's his response to Venezuela, even though some people thought it was iffy. He refused to call Maduro a dictator and said that there's democratic principles at work within Venezuela. It just wasn't a free and fair election to him. In which case, I can kind of understand that, because it wasn't a free and fair election for Bernie Sanders in 2016 either in the Democratic Party. So, that's the exact same situation. And so that just because, everything is not all hunky-dory in Venezuela does not give us the fucking right to go in and do a regime change. So Bernie Sanders, I believe, is listening to folks on that end, on that part. What I didn't appreciate, and what really bothered me as a Bernie Sanders supporter, as a staunch Bernie Sanders supporter, is when they asked him about reparations. When they asked him about reparations, I don't care what nobody say, Bernie gave a political fucking hacky ass answer. He gave a political hacky ass, beat around the bush, fuckboy ass answer. And I hate to say that, but you know what? I gotta be real. I gotta keep it realist. Bernie gave a shitty answer for reparations. In the end, he deflected to a program that, the 10, 20, 30 program or whatever the fuck that, was introduced by somebody that basically it takes care of impoverished communities. That's not reparations. And then he's tried to say that, when Wolf Blitzer threw in that Elizabeth Warren and I forget the other guy's name that's running. I believe he's Puerto Rican. I think it's Juan Ortiz or something like that. He threw in that they were advocating for reparations. Bernie Sanders said, well, what do they mean when they say reparations? And to me, that was just a deflection. It was a political beat around the bush, hacky ass answer. And it was shitty. And I hated that coming out of Bernie Sanders' mouth. He never looked more like a politician than he did when they asked him that question. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not for reparations, just state that you're not for reparations and explain the reasoning behind that statement. If you're for reparations, just say yes. And Bernie Sanders knows all too well, when somebody asks you a question and they want a yes or no answer, if the answer is a resounding yes, it will be none other than yes. If it's no, he's going to give you a stupid ass political beat around the bush answer like that. And that's exactly what happened. And that pisses me off as a Bernie Sanders supporter, because I really wanted Bernie to win over the majority of the black vote. I really wanted him to be able to be the closest representative that we as a black community, that we could have to basically fight for us on issues that even Obama didn't fight for us for. So a lot of people don't agree with reparations. They say it's stupid, although they don't really give a reason why they think it's stupid. Wolf Blitzer made reference to Bernie Sanders in 2016, saying that it would be divisive. That reparations is a divisive issue, and I absolutely disagree. It's not a divisive issue. It's only a divisive issue if you say it's a divisive issue. There's absolutely nothing wrong, and it is absolutely correct to give American descendants of slaves their 40 acres and a mule. We were promised 40 acres and a mule. And look at all the hardships that black people had to endure, and that we're still enduring till this day in this country that was founded on genocide, murder, rape, theft. We stole the land, as America, we stole the land from the Native Americans, and the Native Americans got some land in return, and they get a check when they turn 18. We gave the Japanese reparations after what happened to them. The Jewish people, all these other people get reparations, but black people do not get reparations. And if you're a fair and honest and reasonable person, you would have to assume, because, well, the government doesn't give a shit about black people. I hate saying that, but again, I'm the type of person that looks at evidence after evidence after evidence. After so much evidence piles up, you have to come to a reasonable, logical conclusion. Why else do other people get reparations but black people don't? When we literally built this country, we built the White House that they're dictating policy and trying to rule the world from. We built that motherfucker. And no, I'm not saying me personally, obviously, I wasn't a slave. But yes, I am a descendant of a slave. I come from a slave family. My last name, Bowens, that is a slave name that was given to me. And this is why black people have problems with, politicians and politics in general. Because when it's all said and done, no matter whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, a Libertarian, Green Party does really well on this. So let me toss aside Green Party for this point. But progressive, we tend, in a lot of these circles, we tend to forget about black people as a people, and we tend to lump them in with people of color, or as just being minorities, or the impoverished, or whatever. No, we need politicians, we need actual organizations to set aside policy for black people in specific. Black people specifically, for being American descendants of slavery in this country. Because we actually fueled this country by picking cotton, by picking the crops out in those fields, by taking care of the white children, you know what I'm saying? By cooking the meals. We actually built this country, and we have received jack shit for it. If you don't think there's anything wrong with that, then I think that you seriously as an individual need to have a mental discussion with yourself. Come to a conclusion with yourself and realize that, hey, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe I should take into account that, hey, they did help create, at least if we didn't create this country, could you at least give us credit for helping and really pushing this country into, into the great country that it is today, with so many black inventors creating everything that we use in everyday society, to way back to slavery, to Jim Crow, and everything we had to go through with the laws that were enacted to keep people in bondage, to keep people separate, segregated, apart from regular society. And when we tried to have our own, such as Black Wall Street, You see my point here? We as black people have not been given a fair shake in this country. What do we have? Affirmative action? Do we even have that anymore? And how does affirmative action help to alleviate all the negativity and poverty that we've been dealing with? How does that alleviate that? How does that help that? Reparations would. People want to say, well, you need to define reparations. What is Look, it's not hard at all. It's not a hard concept. It's very simple. Yeah, we can come up with programs. We can come up with different ways outside of a monetary supplement. But at the end of the day, black people, American descendants of slaves, ADOS, we deserve our 40 acres and a mule, whatever that translates into in today's standards. We deserve that because it was promised to us. Our ancestors paid their dues. They paved the way for this great country that we're in 2019, and we absolutely deserve our dues. So for Bernie Sanders to disregard that question really pissed me off and hurt me as a Bernie Sanders supporter, because I thought that he would be more open and willing to have that discussion. I thought that he would, if anybody would understand why we would argue for reparations as much as we are arguing for it, it would be Bernie Sanders. But unfortunately, Bernie Sanders failed in that regard. He failed when they asked him about reparations. He gave a shitty ass answer, and that is the reality of it. The best that we have in this game right now is Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard. I haven't heard Tulsi's stance on reparations, but this is what I have to say about Bernie Sanders. I'm very disappointed, and I just hope that from now until the time of the primary that he's able to really sit down and have a discussion with himself, or have a discussion with black leaders in the community or black organizations that could properly educate him on why it's important for us to have these discussions and why we feel it's necessary and absolutely imperative that American descendants of slaves be given their just dues. So that's what I have to say on the matter. Like I said, overall, I loved the town hall. I'm glad that Bernie Sanders is getting all of this attention. I'm glad that they say 40% of his donations are from new donators. I'm happy that in the first 24 hours, he announced he raised close to $6 million. I'm so proud and happy to be a part of this revolutionary moment. But even this revolutionary moment that we're in right now, we're still behind on a lot of issues, and it's time to catch up now. For instance, it's time to catch up. It's time to catch up. Bernie Sanders, we need you to really be on board with BDS now. It's time to catch up. It's time. We have no more time to waste now. We need you to call out election rigging. We need you to call out them rigging the primary against you. We need you to fight for your supporters, Bernie Sanders. We need you to fight for what's right, because the time is now or never. It's not all about Trump. It can't be. It can't be. This is way too big, and this is way too important of a fight. And again, just to stress the issue, I need our organizations, our politicians, our government, our political atmosphere as it is. I need everyone to fully recognize the black person's struggle in this country and realize that American descendants of slaves deserve reparations. And to shut down the conversation is a cop-out to me, and that's really unfair, considering that we would give we give land and rights and money to every other type of people out there, but when it comes to African Americans, we seem to always have to yell and scream and fight for everything, for every little crumb that we get, and it's still never enough. So with all that being said and done, love, light, and peace. Remember, keep fighting, keep spreading that enlightenment. Find me on all social media. Like this video if you like, share, comment, and subscribe so we can keep up the conversation, y'all. What do you guys have to say about this matter? I know a lot of you don't like reparations. You think it's unfair. You think it's divisive. I disagree. I think that if you want to have a conversation about how you deserve reparations because your family was enslaved in this country, then we can have a conversation about that. But the conversation that we're having right now is about American descendants, African American descendants of slavery. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about now. Like when we say Black Lives Matter, we're not saying all lives don't matter, but we're talking about Black lives at this point. So again, see you guys on the next one. I'm out.
You see me on my hustle, baby, on my cash. My mama, I ain't tryna love you, I just want some stacks. And if I ever wanna hit, I need a lot of ass. Need it fast, like a whip doing 100 bucks. Hit it from the back, make it black, whole lot of that. Before I tap, need some racks, whole lot of that. From the back, make it black, whole lot of that. Before I tap, need some racks, whole lot of that. I'ma need a Stacy Dash for a whole lot of ass. Before I need that, I'ma need a lot of cash. These niggas be running lives like a marathon, running 100 laps. I'm staying focused on the field, on the green like a running back. For real, need a ton of that. If you're rich, you need a ton of rags. No lies, speaking the only facts. Relax and smoke of the W pad. No lacking, I need you to run me down. Get it back whenever the money stack. I'm a hound, I'm not like you funny cat. And they say in the ocean where they bloody at. Looking for blessings when the money, yeah. I can't mess with you, got none of that. No, you know you can't come with that. Unless you got dough, I'ma run with that. So I'ma say no to that. If it broke, then hit my phone with that. So you can leave me alone with that. You can just get gone with that. Cause I need a real rich. Really tryna make a nigga really real rich. Yeah, I need a real rich. Really tryna make a nigga real rich. You see me on my hustle, baby, on my cash. My mama, I ain't tryna love you, I just want some stacks. And if I ever wanna hit, I need a lot of ass. Need it fast, like a whip doing 100 bucks. Hit it from the back, make it black, whole lot of that. Before I tap, need some racks, whole lot of that. From the back, make it black, whole lot of that. Before I tap, need some racks, whole lot of that. I hit it from the back, make it black, whole lot of that. You never know what a nasty gang breaker gon' do when I'm about to swag. Make her hike it to me like a sinner when she throw it back. Flyest nigga in the building, when she see me now she want the track. When she big G, when she see me she don't know how to act. And I'ma lean my line, not until time she gon' hit me facts. She just like the feds, my line she gon' keep it tapped. I'ma need that bread, all the loaf that's gon' keep me fat. I stay on a mission, stay smooth like I'm Mr. Clean. Ain't wasting no energy on a bitch who ain't got shit for me. Never set up a pit, but I ain't no sin for a bitch that got them tendencies for thinking that shit. Me, did you get dismissed for me? I hate wasting my energy. Working hard for what it's finna be. Being broke is a sin to me. Twist and draw when I'm sipping lean. Get the hoes when I'm in the streets. Get the dough, put it in my jeans. Need some more, know what I mean. Get the dough so you gon' see. You see me on my hustle, baby, on my cash. My mama, I ain't tryna love you, I just want some stacks. And if I ever